Hey guys, welcome to Novation. I'm Shantanu and I bring to you the second business awareness video of 2020. And friends, in this video, we are going to learn about the important regulatory authorities of India, and we will be discussing the important functions, the heads and the headquarters of these most important regulatory authorities. And this is going to be really important for exams and the GDPIs, which might be held in the coming days. And it is also very important for the subjects that you are going to learn in your further studies in MBS. So it is also important from a long-term perspective learning. So without any further ado, I'll start the video. First, we will see what are these regulatory authorities, what actually they are. So they are also called regulatory authorities, regulatory agencies, or just regulators. And so basically they are generally most of these regulatory bodies are public bodies. They are controlled or they are under government. They are created by the government as per a legislature or as per a law, and they are tasked with creation, implementation, and enforcement of laws or norms specific to a particular business sector. So for example, there is a business sector which we can say financial services. So there is a particular regulator for that. There is an industry which is related to food. So food industry will have a regulator, so that there are certain rules which are made for them, and the companies which are in that sector, they need to follow the rules and the norms created by that regulator. Okay, so these are what regulatory bodies are all about basically. And as I told you, they are set up in order to enforce safety and maintain standards of operations. And in India, we have various regulators like Reserve Bank of India, Securities Exchange Board, insurance regulator, telecom regulator, etc. So we'll see them one by one, and we'll also see the functions and the heads of such regulatory bodies. So let's start with the first one. The first is Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, that is TRAI. I would say very important, and you will come across it many times when you are studying your subjects, or even reading newspapers or listening to news. So basically TRAI is a statutory body, which means that it has been established by the Parliament, and it was set up under Section 3 of Telecom Regulatory Authority of India Act. So this is the name of the act under which TRAI was established, and the year of this act is 1997, and it is the regulator of telecommunications sector in India. So you need to remember that, as the name suggests, Telecom Regulatory Authority, this regulator regulates the telecom sector. Now let's see the most important functions. So its regulatory functions include recommendations on the new service providers and licensing issue. So TRAI is the one which regulates when a new player has to be introduced in the market, and when it has to be provided a license or taken the license away. It also provides guidelines related to regulations, directions, and orders regulating interconnection between different players. Since every one of us might be having a different different company of SIMs or telecom, or our landlines are different, so there need to be a proper interconnection between different players, and TRAI is the one which regulates that interconnection, looks after proper interconnection. Otherwise there will be a lot of trouble between interconnecting various type of companies. Next, ensuring affordable tariffs and quality service for customers. The most important part of the system is the customers. So looking after their interest is also an important function of TRAI. As I told you, consumer protection is again related to providing affordable tariffs and quality to customers, and also looking after their complaints or grievances. Now let's look at the head. So Mr. Ram Sevak Sharma is the head of TRAI. You can see him in the photograph, and the headquarters of TRAI is in New Delhi. Okay, so that's it about TRAI. This is the most important thing that you must know, okay, as a MBA aspirant. Now moving forward to the next, Competition Commission of India, that is CCI. So let's see about it. So CCI is again a statutory body which was set up under the Competition Act 2002. And why? For administration, implementation, and enforcement of this act, and was duly commissioned in March 2009. So we'll see what are the important function of CCI. As you can understand from the name, it is related to competition in various markets. Let's see the functions. So first is to prevent practices which have adverse effect on competition. So if any of the player is trying to manipulate the market by certain practices, for example giving away its products in a very cheap way, these are the practices which reduce the competition, because customers will move toward them, and this will polarize the market. So such practices are controlled or governed by CCR. Next, to promote and sustain competition in the market, again enhancing the competition, promoting such practices that will enhance the competition in the market, like introducing new players, giving them more freedom to enter the market. Next, to protect the interest of the consumers, again very important, that consumers or the customers, they are looked after, their interest is looked after, and their grievance are taken care of. To ensure freedom of trade, so trade is free. It means that no one is hindering the trade by putting unnecessary rules that you cannot trade in this segment of the market. So Competition Commission looks after that also. Let's see the head. So Mr. Ashok Kumar Gupta, he is the head of Competition Commission of India, and the headquarter of CCI is in again New Delhi. Let's move forward to the next regulator. So friends, SEBI, that is Securities and Exchange Board of India, is the regulator of securities and commodities market. So what is the security and commodity markets, friend? It is the financial market where various securities like share market, shares and bonds, debentures, they are traded in these securities market. And similarly commodities, where gold or various edible commodities are also traded, and SEBI regulates that market, financial market. And it was established in 1988 and given statutory power on 30th January 1992 through the SEBI Act of 1992. Let's see the function of SEBI. So let's see them one by one. To promote and protect the interest of investors in security market. So investors, those who are putting their money in such securities like shares and bonds, these investors, their interest should be protected. The company should not be promising falsely that the prices will boom. So there should be proper structure to every process. Otherwise, this might lead to loss to the investor. Next, to oversee IPOs and FPO. So what are these IPOs, friends? IPOs are initial public offering, when a company starts offering its shares to the public. So that's the first step toward going public, that is offering an initial offer to the public. Next is FPO, that is a follow-on public offering. So when a company after IPO it has given its shares, again wants to give further more shares to the public, then it goes toward FPO. So these two processes are again regulated by SEBI. Next, to act as a mediator and ensure smooth market transaction. Now, since various investors will be purchasing the commodities, securities, and then they'll be reselling them, so all these transactions must be very smooth. Okay, that is taken care by SEBI. Next, to prohibit unfair trading practices like insider trading. Friends, very important term in business terminologies. So insider trading means if a person knows some vital information or is a part of a company and is having vital information about something or which a company is going to do, and if he tells it to some trader or someone who invests in stock, then that is called insider trading. But this is prohibited in our country. This is not legal. So it is also taken care by SEBI. Next, to register and regulate the working of stockbrokers, sub-brokers, share transfer agents, etc. So all these brokers through which we purchase the shares, these are also registered and regulated by SEBI. So these are the most important functions. There are other functions also, but for now these are the regulatory functions that we must know. Let's see who's the head of SEBI. It is Mr. Ajay Tyagi, and the headquarters of SEBI is in Mumbai. Okay, I hope it's clear. So we'll move forward. Next, and another very important one is Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority, IRDAI. As the name suggests, this is a statutory body which is responsible for regulating and promoting the insurance sector or the reinsurance industry in India. So again, they'll be promoting plus regulating the insurance sector in India. And it was constituted by the Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority Act of 1999. Friends, if you're not familiar with these years, I would recommend that please write down the names of the act and the years. Okay. Let's see the functions. So the most important regulatory function of IRDAI is registering and regulating the insurance company. That's a no-brainer. So Since it is regulating companies, it is also providing them licenses and regulating them. Next is protecting the interest of the policyholder. Again, a no-brainer, very easy one. Next, as I told you, licensing and establishing norms for insurance intermediaries. In our previous video, we talked about insurance company and the difference between insurance intermediaries. So these are the insurance broker kind of sector. So insurance regulatory authority looks after these also. Regulating and overseeing premium rates and terms of non-insurance covers. So there are certain premium rates for the insurance which we buy, and those rates are also looked after by IRDAI. Next is ensuring that insurance coverage in rural areas and vulnerable section of the society. Again, very important function, friends. What happens is most of the companies, they tend to participate more in urban areas, but those people who are living in marginalized areas like villages, they are not covered. So IRDAI encourages them or various other companies to participate in such kind of areas also, so that they can also be aware and also can be helped by insurance. So the head of IRDAI is Mr. Subhash Chandra Kuntia, and the headquarters of IRDAI is in Hyderabad, Telangana. Let's move forward. Next and very important one is Reserve Bank of India. Friends, I have made a very detailed video related to RBI previously, so I'm putting its link in the description section and also on the top right corner of the screen. So I highly recommend you to please watch it. I'll be going through a little quicker here and not be covering all the important features. I'll be only covering the regulatory functions of RBI. So please do watch the video, and it will be much more helpful for you. So RBI was established on 1st April 1935 in accordance with the provisions of the Reserve Bank of India Act in 1934. And RBI acts as a regulator and supervisor of the banking sector through the provisions of Banking Regulations Act of 1949. So here RBI is the regulator for banking sector. Let's see all the important regulatory functions of RBI. Issuance of licenses for opening of banks. So again, very no-brainer, nothing to understand here. It issues licenses for opening new banks. Next, governing foreign banks that entry and approval of Indian banks to operate overseas. Now there are various banks, foreign banks like HSBC, they come and operate in India. So Reserve Bank of India regulates them also, and some banks which participate in foreign countries, those banks are also regulated by RBI. Next, monitoring the maintenance of SLR and CRR by banks. So these are statutory liquidity ratio and cash reserve ratio. These are safety reserves which are held by the bank, and they can be used in some kind various emergency, like if the bank goes bust or something like that happens, these reserves are helpful to the bank. So a certain percentage of the deposits are put as SLR and CRR by the bank, and it also looks after the monetary policies, as we know, that is repo rate and reverse repo rate. So these are all under the monetary policy decisions. Next is policy issues related to customer service. So how's the bank, all the banks, commercial banks are performing the customer service. So that's a very important function that RBI asked them to perform in a better manner. Let's see the head. So head of RBI, very easy, Shaktikanta Das, and where is the headquarter? It is in Mumbai. Let's move forward to the next one. Next regulatory authority that we are going to talk about is Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, FSSAI. So as the name suggests, it is the regulator for food industry. FSSAI is an autonomous statutory body established under the Food Safety and Standards Act of 2006, FSS Act. Let's see its important regulatory functions. So it frames the regulations to lay down the standards and guidelines of food safety. So if any company is working in this industry, the rules which are governing that industry are formulated by FSSAI, and it grants FSSAI food safety licenses and certification for food businesses. So whenever you'll see any food packet or any packaged food, you'll see that there are holograms of FSSAI, which are it tells that FSSAI has actually approved this food and it meets all the standards of safety requirements for any type of food that we eat. Next is laying down procedures and guidelines for laboratories in food businesses. So friends, whenever there are companies which participate in the business of food, their food has to be tested in laboratories which are provided guidelines and standards by FSSAI, so that if the food does not meet that standard in the laboratory, it does not qualify to be sold in the market. Next is promote general awareness about food safety and food standards among customers. So the head of FSSAI is Rita Tiotia, and the headquarters of FSSAI is in New Delhi. Okay. So friends, the last one is Bureau of Indian Standards, that is BIS. Friends, this is your assignment question. I want you guys to read about BIS and also provide me important insights from your reading in the comment section. So I'll read your comments and I'll tell you if they are correct or not. Okay. So friends, thanks a lot for watching. I hope the video was helpful and you have gained good insights about all these regulatory bodies. These are very important whenever you read news or go for GDs, PIs. Just have a clear understanding of them. So if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Novation for more awesome content. Bye bye, until next time.